Hi, I'm Gary Rowles, and I'm the oldest guy in the room. And my friend Neil Grandstaff has showed me more on the guitar in 15 minutes than I learned in the 40 plus years before I met him that I'd been playing it. Guitar mechanics has tremendously improved my playing and my concept of music on this instrument.
What kind of guitar do you have? What is this?
It's actually called a Telemaster.
Telemaster.
Yeah, it's actually a hybrid Telecaster Jazzmaster.
Right, it's made of separate, different parts.
Right, the body is Jazzmaster, the guitar, the rest of it is pretty much Telecaster, except for the neck is actually a Stratocaster neck that has a different decal on it, courtesy yours truly.
Oh, that's great.
It's one of those, we call them parts casters.
Parts caster, there you go.
It's
there
a lot of fun.
Cool. So we have been studying, we've been doing masterclass work together.
Since 2004.
Since 2004. So it's like the stuff that you found there you mentioned to me, it was like, hey, this is kind of cool. You took by sharing it with you and you extracting it by lots of practice.
Right.
And you've been playing how long now?
Since 1957.
So you're a very experienced player. But you said something to me about extra real estate or something on the neck?
Yeah, it's really easy to explain in only a few words.
Sure.
When I met you, in 15 minutes you showed me another 40% available to me on the instrument.
Oh wow, that's nice to hear.
The only regret I have is that I didn't learn it 30 years ago when I moved to Oregon.
You're a great player. I mean, you managed to get through with the most of the neck, but what did having that extra part do for you? I mean,
well, what it showed me is the grid that I've always had in my head. Music is kind of that way to me, and I've always, because I hear a certain way, and this allowed me to see the connectivity and also, the more vertical aspects and using the patterns instead of just, a lot of guitar players when they play, they go like this and they'll hit a note and hope it comes out. You hope you hear the sound that you think you're going to hear, but for me, I just don't have enough time to appropriate all the information. I mean, literally in life, I don't have enough time to appropriate it.
Sure.
So, I play a lot of different kinds of music, and jazz isn't something I've played a lot of, but it's something I tend to write in.
Sure.
So it really helps to have that for the things that I'm doing and stuff like that.
And when you're soloing, it tends to open up. You don't get so much painting yourself in a corner.
Yeah, it
does.
I mean,
that's
especially from a writing perspective.
Right.
As far as I haven't. I would say that. It really is. It's great in all kinds of music. It really is. It's really tremendously opened up my potential, and I'm still growing a huge amount.
Well, you play great. Let me give you a little pound on that, dog.
Thank you.
On. It's so good to work with you, man, and to play with you because you're an experienced player. You had a couple of really pretty cool things happen in your life early on. I mean, back in the '60s, you had a pretty good band. I mean. You played with a couple of different people.
Yeah, I've played with a bunch of people back then, and I've recorded with lots of people. I was a studio player back in California for 20 years. I was a member of a group called Love.
Sure.
And I got to play with Jimi Hendrix 3 times, once for 8 hours in the studio.
Oh man.
At Olympic back
That's
in
so
1970.
Cool.
It was a released record.
Oh, that's great.
I did a record with Ella Fitzgerald. I've done a couple of jazz dates. I did some Quincy dates and stuff like that. And
so from Hendrix to Quincy Jones, everything in between.
Worked at Sound City for years and years. That whole thing was a big part of, we were in there working after the studio was closed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And just done, played a bunch of different bands and stuff like that, and made records too. I've always really enjoyed that. That's why the studio is real important to me.
Absolutely. Well, you're real perfectionist. Your tone is so excellent, man. And again, from your experience, a lot of that has to do with all the things that you gleaned from all those experiences and those years in, man. It's appreciated. I learned a lot from you sitting and listening to the way you play, man. So again, wherever the camera is, you've dropped into guitar mechanics. We're chatting with Gary Rowles, a great guitarist, a seasoned player, seasoned pro, and hoping that you can drop on the site guitarmechanics.com. Gary likes it. Some of the younger cats you'll be watching on our channel. You'll be seeing a variety of great players and young people, older guys like us. Again, it's not all about jazz. Like Gary said, he recorded with people like Jimi Hendrix and all the way to Ella Fitzgerald and Quincy Jones. That's a pretty broad swathing of musical styles, and Gary's very capable. Hey, let's play a little swing thing to get out of this. Let's go back to the key of F and do that, Gary. Let's do that just the way you look tonight. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.